what I took away, to be blunt, is the fact that those responses are not going to change a single vote on either side of the question, and the same goes for the Second Amendment discussion that they had during this debate, because the voters and the opinions of almost every voter in America on those two hot-button subjects have been baked and cooked for years, and bringing them up, it's important to let Americans know about this, but nothing that either Hillary Clinton nor Donald Trump said tonight on Roe versus Wade or the Second Amendment is going to change a single vote. I don't think so anyway.
This is kind of a look into your crystal ball kind of question, Michael. At the end of the night, who do you think did better with undecided voters, Trump or Clinton?
I think that Donald Trump had to move voters, and if the polls are right, he had to move a lot of voters. I don't think he did that tonight. I don't think he had the kind of night that was required. He needed to have a very successful night and win on intellectual points, on political points, and on the common sense points. I don't think he did that. He was probably a little too angry once again tonight. He was interrupting not only Hillary Clinton, but the moderator, constantly going, wrong, wrong. I don't think that played well, and it won't serve him well. Did Hillary Clinton win? Don't think it was a big win, maybe not even much of a win, but she did not lose any ground tonight, and she may have picked up a few voters. I don't think Donald Trump expanded his base at all. One other thing I want to bring up to you, Chris, as you well know, and Laura, moderating a thing like this is like juggling a lot of different balls and pins and awkward elements all at once. I think Chris Wallace from Fox News, Fox Sunday, did a magnificent job of moving the discussion forward, trying to keep them on topic and at the same time give them a little room to run. You could tell that he was getting exasperated, but I also thought he did his job really well, moving the discussion ahead, and I think he hit some pretty hot topics that voters wanted to hear about. I think Wallace did an outstanding job.
I'm not sure there were a lot of moments where he lost control tonight, and he had a handful of it.
I don't think so.
And social media has certainly embraced Chris Wallace as being a very effective moderator. Michael Mahoney, thank you so much. Terrific job.
Safe trip home.